Good evening, everyone. My name is Jeff Breshears, and my project is on collecting and displaying available commercial properties in downtown Tucson using mobile and web applications. So throughout my time in the GIST program, I've been doing an internship with an organization called the Downtown Tucson Partnership, and they're a nonprofit group that provides municipal services in the downtown area. And they have a small office staff with no GIS professionals, so a lot of the work I was doing with them was trying to find opportunities to apply GIS to their projects and help make them more efficient and get a better product out of what they were going for. So tonight I'm going to be sharing one of those projects with you all that involved creating these applications for the organization. So a quick overview of what I'll be talking about. I'll start with some objectives of the project and a little bit of background on the organization. After that, I'll show the study locations and define some of the different districts that the application was designed to work in. Then I'll talk about the methodology of the project and explain how different components were created to build the apps. Next, I'll share some of the results and show what the finished product looked like and a little demonstration of how the interface works. And I'll end with some conclusions and talk about future steps for the application. So in recent years, there's been a significant amount of development occurring in downtown. It's been occurring in a variety of sectors. In housing, we've seen a lot of new apartment complexes go in transportation, we've seen the streetcar line go in that runs through downtown. And another major area of development downtown is in commercial property development. There's currently 651,000 square feet of commercial space in development with an additional 760,000 square feet of proposed commercial construction, and that includes new properties as well as the renovation of older properties. So the Downtown Tucson Partnership is involved with a lot of mediating between different parties involved with the development downtown. And they're a local nonprofit corporation created in 1998 with the purpose of providing enhanced services to members of the downtown area. The office staff at Downtown Tucson Partnership is pretty small, but they have a board of directors that is made up of community members downtown, including business owners, members of historical societies, and leaders from other nonprofit groups. Additionally, the Downtown Tucson Partnership works with the City of Tucson and Pima County governments on some projects, and the projects they cover are in a pretty wide range of areas that they're involved with, many of which are detailed in their 5-year strategic plan, most recently coming out in 2017. And this plan documents what the board of directors are interested in for the community, what they see as priorities for improvement. And in the most recent plan, one of the major areas of focus was on increasing the occupancy of existing commercial properties downtown. So one of the project goals that the Downtown Tucson Partnership listed in response was to create an available property inventory that could be available on their website and updated in real time. So the objective of my project was to create a GIS web application that would be able to collect the available properties with their spatial and attribute information and then display them publicly on their website. Well, the main focus of the project was to create the web application. I also wanted to include mobile entry compatibility. And the purpose of this was to assist the Downtown Tucson Partnership with achieving that goal of increasing the occupancy of the many commercial properties that already exist in the downtown area. So in this project, I used a variety of Esri software and tools to create my applications, including ArcGIS Pro, ArcGIS Online, Collector, and Web App Builder. This map shows the largest extent of the study area for this project. And while this is a larger boundary than what we typically think of as downtown Tucson, this covers the downtown core as well as districts that are heavily impacted by the development occurring there and share a lot of relationships with that central downtown core. Moving in a little closer, this is the boundary of what's called the Business Improvement District, also known as the BID. And this area was created in conjunction with the Downtown Tucson Partnership for the boundary of the specific area that they provide services in and where their board of directors are located. This map, going back out a bit, shows the different downtown districts around the core. So in the center, in purple, blue, and red there, you can kind of see the traditional downtown, but you also have areas like Sentinel, 4th Ave, and Main Gate that form this greater downtown area where the partnership is also interested in maintaining occupancy of commercial properties. So the workflow of my methods for this project started with creating the feature layers to store the data for the commercial properties and the boundaries. Following that, I created a web map to store the feature layers and attached that to Collector to allow for mobile capability. And then I used App Builder to build an application around that for the purpose of displaying the data. And finally, I did some data entry of properties in the area to give the Downtown Tucson Partnership a foundation to start as they'll enter properties in the future. So I created 3 layers in ArcGIS Pro as file geodatabase feature classes, 2 polygon layers, one for the Business Improvement District and one for the other downtown districts. And I created a point layer for available commercial properties to store the spatial and attribute information for those. At this point, I also created the fields for the layer for properties, so things like the address, the cost, the square footage, as well as domains to help standardize the entry. So options like what type of property is it, what district is it in, where there's predetermined options that can be selected. After completing the layers, they were published to ArcGIS Online as hosted feature layers. At that point, they were put into a web map to be stored online. And this also presented an opportunity to adjust the settings on the symbology and pop-ups and also check for functionality of the domains. Following this, I set up the mobile form using ArcGIS Collector, which is one of Esri's mobile applications for collecting field data. And so this is synced directly to the ArcGIS Online account. This image shows a screenshot of what the entry form for the available commercial properties layer looks like. So some of these entries are simple text and number entry forms for things like the street name or the square footage, and some of them are the domains where the user has a drop-down menu to select predetermined options. And these submissions go directly into the available commercial properties hosted feature layer and thus the web map that they're stored in. Next, I used Esri App Builder to create a web application, and the web map serves as the foundation for the application. So any changes made in the web map and the hosted feature layers are then updated in the application, which serves as the viewer of the data. The App Builder provides options for adjusting the display, which was nice because the goal of this was to get the application embedded onto Downtown Tucson Partnership's website to help them out. But the core part of using the App Builder was in configuring the widgets, which are basically tools provided by Esri that are interactive and can be used by the user in the application for a variety of purposes. So just some really basic widgets that were included is Downtown Tucson Partnership requested a print option for properties. There's a base map gallery for changing the map or the imagery behind the data. And I also put in a bookmarks widget, which allows the user to quickly zoom to the different available districts. But the filter widget is really what kind of pulls the app together and gets it to do its main purpose, which is allowing the users to narrow down their search of properties and find points they're interested in based on the parameters that they choose. So in the settings for this widget, expressions are created using drop-down menus of the field names in the available commercial properties layer, and then operators and a blank space for the user to enter something. So for the maximum cost, for example, we use the cost field out of that layer, which is a number, and then use the operator is at most, and the user will type in that number, and so then the filter will remove every point that has a cost above that. And it works similarly with values that have domains. So for district, which is a string, we use the operator is, and the user will have a drop-down menu of all of the districts. They'll select one, and any points that aren't within that district are then removed from the map. For data entry, I put in the spatial and attribute information of some of the available commercial properties downtown. This can be entered on desktop or mobile using the collector. And this data was taken from other commercial real estate websites. And this was to get kind of a foundation on the app to work with, and it'll be up to Downtown Tucson Partnership what sourcing they want to use, because they'll be maintaining the data as different properties come on and off the market. So this is what the web application looks like when launched in a browser, with the green properties as for rent properties and blue points for sale. Over here we have the filter widget, which I'll do a demonstration of in just a moment. This is what the bookmarks widget does, so we can zoom to different areas based on the districts and where properties are located. This is just an example of the base map gallery, so we can change it to imagery if that's how the user wants to browse through the properties in the map. Pop-ups were also configured, so when you click on the property points, you get the most relevant attribute information for each property, as well as a link in the bottom attribute field for the original posting of the property, so that users can go directly to the realtor page if they're interested in getting more information. For the filter widget, the user just enters their parameters here. So for rent or sale, they have a drop-down menu, and if they choose rent, it removes all of the for sale properties. For property type, if they use the domain and enter retail, again, it moves through and only leaves what still fits the parameters. And the same applies for other things, like if we go through cost, square footage, and it continues to filter until either there's no properties left or there's some that fit the parameters defined in the filter widget. So future steps for this project, the application will need to be transferred over to Downtown Tucson Partnership for them to be able to host it and put it on their website. Additionally, the Downtown Tucson Partnership will need to sync their ArcGIS Online account with Collector to enable them with the capability to enter properties mobilely. And in addition to that, they'll need to embed the application into their website. And after that, the maintenance really just revolves around them adding properties when they come onto the market and removing them so that they have an up-to-date inventory posted on their website. So a few conclusions with the project. Going into this provided me with an opportunity to apply GIS in a setting where it wasn't being used. They were familiar with GIS and have some projects that have touched on that, but it was a good opportunity to get to create a product for them that actually moved forward with some of their organizational goals, in this case of increasing occupancy in available commercial properties. And for me, out of this project, I gained a better understanding of how to take these different components that we learned about in the program and combine them into one project to reach a single goal. Thank you.